Hello, Dental A Team listeners. We are so excited to be here with you today. And as always, I am just stoked that you guys are here with us, that you're always showing up, ready to listen, ready to learn, and that you're constantly looking for growth, whether you're a doctor or a team member, and that you look to us as your professional resource for that. And we value you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to providing you with some amazing content. I have with me here today Miss Kristy. She is a consultant on our team. If you haven't met her yet, you guys are missing out. She is an incredible human being. Kristy, you're one of the most empathetic people I've ever met in my life who are just able to see into people's souls and acknowledge people and love them and grow them and do all of that while focusing on analytics and practice growth. And I just think it's an incredible skill set to have. So, Kristy, thank you for being here with us today. And are you ready to provide some amazing content for these listeners?
Absolutely. Always excited to spend time with you and give some tips and tricks to our people.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited, you guys. I hope you know that I love my consulting team. Number one, I think we have some of the best human beings on our entire team, and our consultants are just a wealth of knowledge. And what I do is I look at the content that we have coming up and the ideas and the podcasts that we need to do, and I hand pick my team, my ladies here, to chat these discussions with me based on areas that they love. I think we're all really good at a lot of things, and we consult on everything that a practice may need, but we each have our own individual loves within dentistry and places that we really shine. And Kristy, I think the billing department, I think you're probably similar to me. Like I can do billing, but it's the details, and it's just like, gosh, I just get lost in it and I become a person I don't love. But you know how to do it, and you know how to do things really well, really effectively, and really quickly. And I want to pick your brain today, if you're open to that, on some ways that doctors can encourage their team to really collect quickly and get money and cash flow moving now, is how I like to say it. And Kristy, are you up for that today? How are you feeling on that subject?
Absolutely. Back in the day, it probably used to scare me a little bit when I was the one collecting, but through the years, gotten tips and tricks from other mentors, and it really doesn't scare me anymore. It's a privilege to work with people, so and fit things in their budget. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. I think that's a really great point. When I was in practice, it was definitely a little bit different of a story than it is now, teaching team members and doctors how to do the billing in their practice. So I agree. I'm super excited for this one. And doctors that are listening here, today is all about getting some money in the bank, just getting some collections now. So if your collections is suffering, if you feel like, gosh, we're behind on our 98% or higher goal, we're not seeing that come through, we've got some quick tricks for you and tips to get some money in the bank. But I do want to say first and foremost that just because there's a cash flow issue, if the bank is looking tight or we're just not sure where that money is going to come from, it doesn't always equate to that the collections aren't happening. Sometimes it means that our goals aren't being met production wise. So in order to collect, the production has to have happened. So please watch both of those metrics. It can be really easy to get stuck on the money side and not particularly paying super close attention to, number one, if our goals meet the standards that we need. Do our production goals, if we collect 98% or higher, do those production goals equate to what you need in order to cover your overhead plus have plenty of profit? If not, we may need to rework those numbers. If you're not sure, please reach out, hello@thedentalateam.com. We are more than happy to help you figure out what your bare minimums are, what you need, where your overhead's at, and how you can make sure that you are reaching those financial goals. So definitely check to make sure your goals are enough to reach your overhead, and then double check if they are. If you're like, yes, Tiff, I hear you, but my goals, they should have me profitable, I should have money in the bank, then fantastic. Let's look to make sure we're meeting those goals. There's a lot of different ways to look at it: your yearly, your quarterly, your monthly, your weekly, your daily. And if you're not looking at all of them, you're going to miss something. A lot of practices will only look at monthly, and we might miss an opportunity to save our month's goal really early on in the month. And I have other practices who are only looking at daily and they're not looking at the cumulative. So if we're not hitting it every day and we're not looking at a cumulative, we're going to miss that mark because we're not paying attention to what we've missed already and what needs to be added back into the goals. So those are just a couple caveats for you guys as we jump into this discussion on how to get some collections in the bank quickly. I wanted to ensure that you guys knew exactly what we're working with and where you should be at in order to make sure that this stays consistent. Now, these tips and tricks that we have, Kristy, I'm going to pick your brain a ton today. And doctors, I want you to understand these are things that you can do right now, but these are mostly things that should be consistently done regardless of what your bank account looks like. So have your team work with these pieces, have them work to ensure that these collections get taken care of now, but make sure that they build protocols out of them and that these are something that becomes systematic for them so that it's consistent and you don't have to jump into this right now action list again. So caveats are over. Those were my preemptive statements. And Kristy, walking into a practice and you see that their collections is, I don't know, 87%, right? And you want to cry. And you're like, what the heck? Doctor's crying in the back already. And they just don't know what to do. What are some of the first things that you're going to tackle with that billing person or department or office manager, whomever it is that is able to take some responsibility over the collections? What are some of the pieces, the first places that you're going to tackle that in office?
Yeah, to begin with, I mean, there's probably two main areas. There's several that we'll go through, but two main areas would be number one, what are they doing every day? Are they looking ahead and looking at their schedule for the patients coming in the next day, next 2 days that have outstanding balances, and making a plan to collect on those patients when they come in? But I always kind of look at things. I got a door behind me, so we can think about a door like what's going out the door, but then how can we close the door and stop it too, right? So then my next thought would be, are they presenting treatment plans and financial arrangements for new treatment that's being presented and scheduled to make sure we have a solid financial arrangement on how we're paying for new treatment being added? So those would be the two places that I look at right out of the gate for sure.
Yeah, I love the door analogy. That was beautiful. That's perfect. I hope everybody remembers that. We all have doors all over the businesses and the buildings. So I love that idea, and I think what you're talking on there. I think what you're saying then is looking ahead at the schedule. So look at today, look at tomorrow, and we're preparing that. So we know as the front office, but probably adding that into like your morning huddle, right? And having those conversations because the biggest space to increase collections, right, is going to be to do it with the people who are standing in front of you. Just like selling a treatment case is always easier while they're standing in front of you, it's always more difficult over the phone trying to get them to do it later. So same thing with the billing. If there's a balance due, make sure that everyone's comfortable collecting balances. Make sure that you know what the balance is, and I would say why the balance is there because you're probably going to get questioned. And then just be prepared for when that patient's coming in. So if you're discussing it at morning huddle, if your person who's responsible for the collections, right, your office manager, whomever's presenting it in the morning huddle, maybe they're not available, maybe they're on the phone, someone else is checking them in or checking them out. I want those people to be aware as well. I want them to be like, oh gosh, this is Joe. And this morning we talked about Joe. Let me look at his account. Oh, Joe, it looks like you have a balance. Let's go ahead and take care of that right now before you go to the back. So I love that. I think adding that to the morning huddle is key. Adding verbiage in there, you guys, and verbiage tools is going to be essential. Making sure that people are comfortable collecting the money and that they're comfortable with the questions that they will be asked. I have to tell you a little story. I walked into a yearly appointment. Gosh, this was years ago now. And I walked in and I checked in. I did all of the paperwork. It took forever. I was, a doctor I've already seen. And I'm like, gosh, dang it. I'm one of those patients that's like, how many pages are there for this health history update? And why is this taking so long? So I finish it all. I go up and then they let me sit down and then they call me back up. This is like the third call back. And I get up there and she's like, oh, hey, we just have a $65 balance on your account that I need to take care of before you go back. And I said, oh, okay. I said, can you tell me what that's for? Like, I come once a year. Like, what is that? What is that for? She's like, gosh, I'm not sure. I just have a note to collect it from you. I don't know what it is. We don't actually do the billing here. And I said, oh. well, I'm not gonna pay it then because I don't know what it's for. And I was just like, I told her, I said, I'm gonna I'm gonna have a conversation with you, and I need you to know, like, I do this for a living. This is my job, is coaching people on how to make sure that this stuff happens. So my intention is not to coach you right now, but I really need you to find out where this money is coming from, this balance. And I'm gonna just suggest that maybe in the future they provide you with that information so that you can collect a little easier and don't end up in a weird situation like this. And it was just really uncomfortable for both of us. And Kristy, our egos just pop up so quickly. We get defensive, right? And we're like, gosh, you're not taking my money unless you tell me it's a dang good reason. You better have a good reason, or you better have a pair of Lululemon pants back there. If you're taking $100 from me, like, you got to have something good in return for this. And then her, she was shaken, right? I shook her. I shook her simply by asking why I needed to pay, because she didn't have the answer. Had she had the information, she would have felt a little more prepared, in my perspective, right? In my opinion, she would have maybe not gotten shaken so badly. But we don't want to look ever like we don't know what we're doing, especially when we're in within our positions, right? We're in a space of, I should know what I'm doing. It's I'm trying to be a professional, right?
Yeah.
And so when they don't have that information, I think my opinion is that's 90% of the reason why over the counter collections don't happen. I have watched it time and time again where I'm like, girl, there was like $18 on that account. Why didn't you collect it? She's like, well, I didn't see it. I'm like, did you not see it? Like, you collected the owed for today. Like, why didn't we get that $18? Well, really the truth is I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know how to have that conversation, and I didn't know how to find the answer. And so, going back to my story, if she had that information or that knowledge or the directive on how to get it, I think she and I would have had a very different interaction, because as soon as I asked what it was for, she got defensive and was like, it's not my job. And I was like, well, I'm not paying it then, right? It would have been a very different interaction had she been able to even look for that information. So, Kristy, I love that. I think putting it in the morning huddle allows you to discuss the patient balances that are coming up so everyone's aware. But then I think it always also allows you to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to ask any questions and to flesh out anything that might come up. So with that, the over-the-counter collections, I think that's spot on. Like, the number one place to get collections now, to get money in the bank now, is going to be people that are there over the counter. So how do you suggest, Kristy, verbiage wise, how do we ask for that payment when that patient comes in? Even if you have the information, it can still be daunting. It can still be a little overwhelming and feel abrasive. So how do you suggest people use their verbiage skills and ask for that payment from the patient when they're in the office?
Yeah, well, I think it's all about being in relationship, right? And putting yourself in their shoes. So just like you not knowing, giving them more information is always going to be key. But I definitely would get one-on-one with them and make sure it's a private conversation and just say, "Hey, it looks like when you were here in June or you were here in whenever," and make sure it's theirs. It could be from a different family member, but just make sure you know where it's coming from and give them that information. It looks like we saw you on this day, and even acknowledge if they had paid a portion of it, and let them know that you've optimized their insurance benefits, you've sent the claim as a courtesy, and it looks like there's a little bit remaining. Let's go ahead and take care of that for you so you don't have to stop on your way out, if that's the case.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. And see the difference there in even just saying, hey, it looks like you've got a $68 balance on your account. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Totally fine. But if I said, hey, it looks like you've got a $68 balance on your account from when you were here in June, your insurance, we optimized as much as we could. Looks like it just left a little balance there that I'm happy to take care of for you today.
Yep.
It just is so much, it's just a different conversation, because I'm informing more, and so I'm not leaving as much room for question, and the question can quickly lead to doubt as soon as there's money involved. And you say, you owe X amount of money, and there's not a for, it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't. What is that? What are you talking about? So we automatically, our defenses go up again because we're like, don't take my money. It's very important to
Mhm.
me. I hold it dearly. Our defenses come up and it can lead to a very different conversation. So I love that perspective, Kristy. Thank you. So we've got the over the counter collections. We're doing it. We've got it written down. We're talking about it in huddle. We've gone through some verbiage training tools. Now, what would you say, Kristy? What's another item that if you walked into this practice, you would say, okay, let's go ahead and implement this right away?
Yeah, the other thing that I would take a look at for sure is what what framework do they have for their team to follow? You know, does their team know what the expectations of the doctor is? For instance, most practices do like to have the treatment paid for by the time it's completed, right? And so many people are like, no, we're only going to do two payments. And I'm all about getting patients the care they deserve and finding a way to fit it in their budget that they can afford. And I like having the team to have a tool belt, so to speak,
Yeah.
and know the bumpers that they're in. So if I know that the doctor wants it paid for before treatment is completed, and ideally they don't want to break it out more than a couple payments, can we give them an extra, month to pay? And that just guides us on when we're going to schedule the patient. But giving the team those tools and framework, if you will, so then they again can present confidently and they know the parameters they can work within. I would definitely look at that and make sure that they're rehearsed on if we can't find an in-office agreement that's comfortable for the doctor, what outside vendors are we using, and know how to use them to get patients qualified for outside vending too.
Yeah. Yeah. So making sure we're reviewing any outstanding balances as patients are, scheduled to come in. We're looking to see what will they owe, but then also it sounds like as we're treatment planning, making sure that we're one collecting for the treatment that was rendered today. So patients should be well aware. They should have already had a treatment plan. They should know what they owe for today. And then also rehearsing those treatment plans for patients who get treatment plan today and ensuring that the team really knows what the financial options are. I love a good prepayment. I really do, especially if we're trying to get some cash flow going. I love a good prepayment, but be careful if you're only doing it for cash flow and you don't do it as a rule of thumb, you will end up in a cash flow problem when all of those prepaid treatments come in. So don't do it unless you're going to always do it. Don't do it just to fix an immediate cash flow. But I do love a good prepayment plan, or I do love a good savings plan where patients maybe can't afford their treatment right away and they don't want to do financing. Well, a fantastic option for that is I can build you a savings account here at our practice that will apply directly towards your treatment. So we can schedule your treatment out 2 months. If that's how long you think it will take for you to build this up. And then you can just send auto payments or we can auto draft that through your account and add it in there for you. So I do love a good savings account. I think that's brilliant. And then obviously using those third party companies always helps to overcome some of those financial hurdles for patients. So I think that's great. So making sure we've got a good handle on patient outstanding balances, on how to collect for today's treatment and how to collect for future treatment. Again, prepayments are awesome. And then I would say, Kristy, I think like on top of that, if I walked into a practice today, I would be like, cool, awesome. This is no worries. Like, we're going to take care of this. We're going to handle it. Let's print your AR. Like, let's look at your outstanding patient balances and let's tackle these suckers one by one. And my go to is you print the AR, you tackle the biggest balances first, and you just start hammering the phone calls, following it up with text messages, following it up with a statement until those balances are paid. You guys, I have to tell you, I have done this a few times in an office, in offices, I should say. I love nothing more than to dive in with the team while I am there, especially when it's something that's uncomfortable or they think they can't do or they don't know how to do. I will just hop in and do it with them side by side. And I did this with a practice a couple years ago. And I sat in the chair. The front office gal, she had told me, we have hammered this list, and Tiff, there's nothing left to do. And I actually had her start making me a list of people that were just uncollectible. Like, if you were going to send this to a collections practice, or a collections office, who would it be? And so she had been doing that for me for about 2 weeks by the time I got there. And I said, let's bust out that list. Like, we need cash flow. Let's bust out that list. So we busted it out. And she's like, Tiff, like, these are people that won't answer. They're not calling. They're not going to pay. And I said, well, let's see what we can do. So I called, I don't know, a handful of them. And I collected, I think I called 5, and I want to say I collected from 3 of them that day. Those were the uncollectible people. And it's a really easy conversation, you guys. And I typically, I love my CPAs out there because I blame you guys for a lot. I utilize you in my verbiage quite often. But I usually I'll leave a voicemail, or I'll tell them over the phone, like, hey, we've got to chat about your account. It's about to be out of my hands. It's going to the next level, right? I don't love sending the collections agencies because some of them are fantastic, but really it's like, gosh dang it, if I can just collect it myself, I'm going to. But making sure that patients are aware that next space, like I usually say the next step is like it's sent off to like our law department, like our CPAs get a hold of it. Like, I'm not sure where it goes, but it gets taken away from me, and then from there it goes straight to collections, and I would hate for that to happen. So I'd much rather be able to help you today to take care of this balance if you're up for that. Like, I just need some payments on this account. I need it to be less than it is. I need to set something automatic up. Like, what does this look like in your world? And I had so many conversations that day that I can recall, that patients were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for calling me before this happened. This is a big deal. Like, what can I do? And I had patients that were like, all right, I'll pay $300 today. I'll pay $100 today. I can only pay 50. And I'm like, girl, you just got to keep money on the account. And as long as it stays current that you're paying, we can keep it out of collection. So work with me here. And I just become an advocate for that patient because I truly am. I don't want it to go any further. I don't want it to go anywhere else for myself and for you. Like, I am an advocate for you. So how can I help you take care of this? And I think pulling that AR and really tackling those balances, those big balances. Sometimes though, I'll do 5, 6 big balances and I'm like, I'm exhausted, and I'll go for some $20. And I'm like, hey, you got $20 on your account. How can I take care of that? And I'll just get some wins. I'll rack up a couple hundred wins, $100 wins on those small balances, and then go back to those big ones again, all the while still collecting over the counter for those past due balances that are walking through the door, pre-collecting, making sure that, today's treatment's taken care of, but in conjunction, really tackling a lot of that past due money that most of the time patients are like, oh, I saw a letter come from you. I hadn't opened it yet. And I'm like, girl, I get it. I never check my mail. I literally don't. I check my mail like once a month. So if you sent me something, AKA Kira sends us gifts, and sometimes they're sitting there for a while, and she has to tell me, go check your mail. Right. So I'd be one of those offenders. So I'm like, I get it. Another great option is the text to pay. And a lot of our programs are doing that right now, where we can call and have a conversation. We can say, hey, I'm going to text this over to you. You don't even have to give me your credit card number over the phone. You can just plug it in. And you guys, do you know how Apple Pay works? Because I swear to you, I keep money on my Apple credit card for that purpose. Like, great, send it to me and I'll use my Apple wallet for it. So get inventive, you guys, and really use the tools that you have. Look for what's outstanding, be super aware and just super concerned. Advocate for your patients and know that they have to stay current in order to stay patient at your office. So if you're the patient, you're the team member, you're the patient advocate, do your best that you possibly can for them. So action items, Kristy, I think they need to go look at today, tomorrow, and even the next day, add those patient balances into their morning huddle, and maybe even notate it on the appointment in case someone else is checking them out. And then pull that AR list, that patient AR, and really start tackling those balances. Make sure we've got great financial systems in place that the team is fully aware of, because even when we're making those outstanding balance calls, we may need to utilize some of those options as well. So morning huddle add-ins, be aware of what's due today and tomorrow, collect what's due today and what was past due always, and then pull those ARs and really start tackling those balances. Kristy, is there anything you think that needs to be added in there, or anything I missed on especially the patient balance collecting?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, number one, we close the door, so we're taking care of the people coming in, and then we touched on the past due. I would also say that this is a great time of year to be tackling those past due ones because people are getting tax returns. And you already mentioned if they're ready to go to a third party collection, they're probably taking 50% off the bat. So maybe helping these patients by giving them some sort of savings, one time offer, and just clear it up. Number one, it'll save time for you guys in office collecting. And, once you do that cleanup, hold it tight. Don't let it get out of hand. And you also made one other really great point, Tiff, that a lot of people are afraid to pick up the phone. And when we are good at our arrangements on the front end, and there is a slight balance, make sure you do pick up the phone and call because 9 times out of 10, they probably are ignoring a statement they're like, oh, I already took care of that when I was there. So just pick up the phone and make that call and be in relationship with them. Oh my gosh, insurances nowadays, due to the downgrades or limitations, there's just that slight extra. Can we add it to your last auto draft or can we add one more? It's about finding solutions for them. And I think when we come from that mindset of solution oriented, it makes it so much easier. And practice your conversations, like you said.
Yeah.
We practice ours all the time. So you guys practice them too so you're comfortable.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point. We practice ours all the time. Everybody says, Tiff, give me your magic words. I'm like, they're only magic words because I've been telling people these things for 8 years. Like I practice them constantly. So just get really good at practicing. I love that. Thank you, Kristy, for all of that value. Thank you, doctors and team members, for always being here for listening. I hope that you took away some good nuggets today. If you are driving, re-listen, take some notes. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you need help, please reach out. hello@thedentalateam.com. We are here for you. And drop us a 5-star review below. Let us know how helpful this was for you. And if there's anything else that we can ever do for you, any podcasts that you would love to hear about or subjects that you're unaware of that you want more info, please just hello@thedentalateam.com. We are always taking more information from you guys and opportunities to serve you better. So thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.